Hi, today is my third episode of my second season of my Lunch and Learn video series. And today I'm doing something a little bit different than what I have been doing. Unfortunately, I had a guest who got sick and was unable to be here today. But at the last minute, I was able to get some questions from folks. And so today I'm doing an episode of Ask the Doula. And I had some really great questions come in from folks. And some of these are really common questions. And I think it's a really important to get some of these questions answered before someone decides to hire a doula or consider thinking about a doula. I'm Amelia. I'm a birth and postpartum doula in Greensboro, North Carolina. I'm also a certified health education specialist. And so I love giving people information. And let's just go ahead and get started with these questions. I had some really great questions from folks. So the first question is it's kind of a three-parter, and I had two folks who had kind of a similar question. So Rebecca and Stephanie wrote in, and the first part is, why have a doula if my partner is going to be at the birth? This is a fantastic question. I get this a lot. Oftentimes, a partner attends childbirth education classes with the person who is pregnant and will be with them as they labor and give birth. A doula, however, is someone who not only provides physical support to a person who is giving birth, but also provides an emotional support system, an educational support system, and then also some really practical support before and after the baby is born. So a doula is there because a birth is such an emotional process and an exciting time for both the person giving birth and the partner. The doula can be there to provide a space for when people are having really strong emotions. In addition, a doula can be a conduit, sort of a communication facilitator between healthcare providers and you and your partner. In addition, doulas are trained to help with postpartum support right after the baby is born, helping with getting feeding starting, and also do any help with recovery, looking for signs of postpartum mood disorders. So there's a lot that a doula can do that they are trained to do that perhaps a partner might not be trained to do, although there are plenty of partners out there that are trained as doulas. So it's just an additional support system for the person who is giving birth. So kind of a second part to this question is, what is your approach with partners and other loved ones present for the birth? How do you recommend they prepare themselves for the experience? This is such a wonderful question. So there's obviously, doulas can provide a lot of education for the person giving birth and for their partner or family members. Obviously attending childbirth education classes, and many doulas are trained in childbirth education and can provide some of that for you, perhaps on a private basis. That's something that I do as part of my service. And so a doula can help a partner by providing them with information on how to support the person giving birth physically, perhaps helping with comfort measures, figuring out where they can sort of step in and be a physical support person for when the person is going through labor. In addition, I think a really great way to prepare for birth, especially if you have not ever witnessed a live birth, is to go online and look at YouTube videos. There are tons of YouTube videos of live births on YouTube. And this is a great way to get educated on what it's really like at the hospital or a birthing center. There's videos of people's home births. There's plenty of movies out there that you can watch that have live birth in them. And this is a really great way to prepare for the experience. In addition, a birth partner can help a birthing person by supporting them through meditation or breathing exercises, being present as well. And a doula can help facilitate a lot of that. Great question. So, last part of Rebecca and Stephanie's questions are, also, my mother-in-law is staying with us after the birth, so why would I need a postpartum doula? Fantastic question. Many times family members stay with the person who has given birth and their partner or the rest of the family after they have given birth. And this is such an amazing way to support family. And when a grandparent is able to stay, hopefully they are there to help out with maybe older children. A grandparent might be doing laundry or doing dishes and doing some of the cooking and cleaning, so that the person who gave birth and the family has time to bond with their new baby. And so sometimes family members don't stay for very long. Maybe they only stay for a few days right after the family has brought home their new baby. And so then a lot of the postpartum support that a doula can provide would happen after family has left. This is when people find that they need the most support, is perhaps maybe 1 or 2 months after the baby has been born. So a postpartum doula is there to come in and continue with that adjustment period of the 3 to 4 months after a baby is born. Now, sometimes family will stay that long, and if they are actually providing real, concrete, and emotional support, perhaps they can act in a doula role as well. Doulas are also trained to recognize postpartum mood disorders and to recognize issues with feeding, whereas a family member may or may not be trained in that area. And so that's a good reason to have a postpartum doula. Part of my service also is that as a postpartum doula, I cook a meal for my birth clients and bring it to them when they need it after they have adjusted with their new baby at our postpartum care visit. And then as a postpartum doula, I can also provide cooking services. Thank you, Rebecca and Stephanie, for your questions. Okay, on to the next question. And this is a fantastic question that I think is really important to cover. And it is from Kate, and she says, how can a doula support someone having a scheduled C-section? Such a great question. So one area where I've been trained as a doula is to encourage a compassionate cesarean birth. And what this means is compassionate cesarean is when the person who is giving birth is put first and with their baby, and they are and their needs are being met in the when they are having the surgery. So a doula can help when someone they know they're going to have to schedule a C-section. A doula is there to provide education, obviously, and then also they can help facilitate that conversation between the person giving birth and their care providers, their health care providers, making sure that they have the birth that they really want when they're having surgery. That can include a gentle cesarean where the baby is able to push its way, gently come out of the incision. It can also include skin-to-skin contact right after the baby is born. Some folks who are having a cesarean, it's draped for the surgery, and some folks like to be able to see that, either to have the dropped when the baby comes out of the incision, or to have a clear drape so they can watch the surgery themselves. If the doula is able to be present in the surgery, then a doula can help sort of narrate some of what is happening. A doula can also support a partner holding space for fear or anxiety during the surgery. They can support the person giving birth through visualization and relaxation before the surgery. And then always helping with that gentle cesarean. If the person giving birth wants to have their arms unstrapped so that they can hold their baby right after the baby is born, skin to skin contact. And then a birth doula can also help with the recovery in the hospital, starting with feeding, and then of course the doula always leaves space for the family to bond after the baby is born. Kate, this is a fantastic question, and I think some folks think that they don't need a doula if they're planning a C-section, and it's possible that a doula can be quite supportive. Okay, I don't have very much time left, so I want to make sure I get these last two questions in. From Mary, the question is, how long after having my baby will a doula provide or offer support? Fantastic question. So with a birth doula, that's usually laid out in a contract beforehand. Perhaps a birth doula might do 1 or 2 postpartum visits after the baby is born. But then you can also employ a postpartum doula who could be the same doula, and they can provide support for as long as you need it, for as much time as you needed, sometimes even overnight support after the baby is born. Most doulas offer postpartum support up to 4 months after a baby is born, and I do as well. And our last question, we can squeeze it in, is from Jean. Is a doula able to offer support or information if I'm having trouble with breastfeeding? Fantastic question, Jean. Many doulas have a lot of lactation experience, and some might even be international board certified lactation consultants. Some are trained as lactation specialists. And these are folks who have a lot of information about lactation and can recognize some trouble areas with breastfeeding, but aren't board certified lactation consultants. Many doulas have a lactation specialist or lactation expert sort of certification. And so what most doulas can provide is information, education, and they can recognize when someone is having some difficulties with breastfeeding, and they can provide resources to where they can get more support and more information on their breastfeeding journey. And this goes with any feeding issue that someone might be having after they have their baby. Many doulas have a lot of experience with feeding and feeding babies and where to go when you need help. So thank you all so much for your questions. This has been what a great way to do episode 3 of my Lunch and Learn. And next week I have a chiropractor who does a lot of prenatal work and postpartum work with folks, and we're really excited. I'm really excited to have them. So thank you so much for watching today. If you need to get in contact with me, my website is ameliamaddox.com, and I will see you next week.